Hey guys, I'm here. Today I'm kickstarting my YouTube channel with a video review of the Nikon 50mm F1.8g. Now this is Nikon's newest 50mm f1.8 lens as of 2014. It costs around about 200 quid new, cheaper in some places. It's got instant focus override and it will work on all DSLRs, even down to the oldest ones. Now I won't bore you with the technical details and all the statistics and things, but if you are interested in that, I'll put some links in the comment section below, so feel free to check that out. Right, without further ado, let's crack on. This lens isn't exactly jam-packed with additional features. When you buy it, it comes in the box with a standard clip-on lens hood, Nikon's favourite drawstring carry bag, which is pretty much useless, and just the body and lens caps. Doesn't really come with much else. There's no vibration reduction on this lens, which I'm happy about. It saves weight and it keeps the manufacturing costs down. And anyway, a 50mm lens can easily be shot down to 1/50th of a second with no blur, and bearing in mind this thing can open out to f1.8, you're rarely going to be in a situation where you're unable to get a sharp shot. The lens hood offers a good bit of protection as well as glare reduction, so frankly just stick it on and forget about it. This lens also features a rubber gasket at the mount for weather sealing, but it's got an open front, so if you were taking this lens anywhere harsh, I'd recommend sticking a high quality UV filter on it for maximum protection. A small added bonus for this lens is the inclusion of a focus window. This gives accurate focus readings, making it very useful for calculating hyperfocal distances and depth of field, especially in landscape photography. This is also incredibly useful in dark surroundings when using manual focus, as the infinity mark is clearly marked out and very easy to read. Basically, you're buying this lens for the glass. If you're a fan of VR, focus limiters and so on, you're going to be disappointed. This lens is very comfortable to hold and possibly the simplest thing I've ever had to use. The size and weight are spot on and the balance is nothing short of perfect on most Nikon DSLRs. The focus ring has been enlarged and rubberized for maximum grip. This allows the easiest access for a lens this size and is a real improvement over the older 50mm f1.8g, which had a very small uncoated wheel at the very end of the lens. Focusing is internal, which means nothing moves on the outside. This is also a great improvement over the older 50mm f1.8g, as it's a more rugged design. Off the camera, with the hood reversed, this lens is no bigger than a tennis ball. You're not going to have any problems fitting it in any camera bag. Hell, you can even put it in coat pockets. Basically, this means you're never going to have an excuse to leave it at home. Always have it with you. It's perfect for sort of candid, spur of the moment street photography and portraits. It's what it's designed for. All in all, this is a really simple, effective and brilliantly designed lens for its purpose. This lens is fast, accurate and incredible in low light. Autofocus speed is fairly quick, mainly due to the short focal length. There's very little glass to move around, so less weight equals higher speed. It's not quite the Nikon 70-200 2.8, but it's certainly quicker than most. The autofocus is snappy and very accurate. It rarely fails to find the subject, even in low light, but if it does, a quick back and forward AF hunt fixes the issue in less than a second. But let's be honest here. You're probably more interested in that number, f1.8. I can tell you that this lens is incredible in low light. I can walk around my street lit town at midnight getting handheld shots at ISO 400 without a flash gun. All in all, this lens performs miles above its price bracket. Any potential issues are negligible with the end result. It's super sharp, it's always crisp, snaps on in focus. I can't really fault it for 200 quid. This lens is sharp, vibrant, pretty much ghost free and just a bokeh-licious monster. Wide open at f1.8, this lens does tend to soften up a bit, but bearing in mind f1.8 will give you a depth of field close to 4 cm, it's more likely that you'll be looking for a smooth shot anyway, using the bokeh to its fullest extent. Like most, this lens becomes sharper as you step down, with f2 smoothing out any major issues found at f1.8, and by the time you reach f8, this lens is absolutely pin sharp all across the image. The colours are consistent at all apertures, with no contrast differences at either end of the scale. Ghosting is minimal, but if you stick the hood on and forget about it, it just doesn't exist. This lens is built really, really well. If it was made out of metal, I'd say it's built like a tank and it's indestructible. But it's not made out of metal. It's made out of cheap Chinese plastic. Again, this is due to the price. If Nikon made this out of their magnesium alloy, it would cost 10 times the price. The plastic that Nikon have used is solid, impact resistant and feels quite sturdy in the hands. Thanks to the internal focusing, you don't need to worry about bumping the front of this lens, unlike the older model. There's no creaking or give in the body when pressure is applied, and very little noise when shaken. This is because the lens has been constructed internally with a mix of plastic and metal components. Nikon have thought very carefully about the design and build quality of this lens. From studio work to press photography, they've made a lightweight lens that can really stand up to some pretty tough impacts. I never have to worry about this lens. For under £200, you're getting a lens that will outperform others 10 times the price. It's well thought out, perfectly designed and just beautiful in every single way. If you're just walking around with this lens, I personally would stick it on f4, ISO 100 and forget about it. That gives you enough depth to get some really nice sort of portrait type shots or candid moments, but also gives you enough light to get any spontaneous action that may or may not happen. Again, perfect lens for like street photography. If you're in the studio or taking portraits, you can try and play around with very wide ones such as f2 or 2.8, but with a 50mm lens you'll probably find the depth isn't enough. So I usually shoot portraits around about 5.6 or f8. I've done a few tests and I can safely say that the sharpest aperture on this lens is f8. The older, less advanced Nikon 50mm F1.8g is much cheaper and can be found for almost half the price. This lens is just as sharp, has no distortion and is even smaller than the F1.8g. But it doesn't have manual focus override, weather sealing or internal focusing, so these are strong points to consider. Although it's a different type of lens altogether, the Nikon 40mm f2.8 macro lens is definitely worth considering. This is Nikon's entry-level macro lens for crop sensor DSLRs, allowing you to focus in much closer and capture photographs of insects and flowers. It's around the same price as the 50mm f1.8g, and although it's a stop slower, it still doubles up as a very capable street and portrait lens. In this world, you get what you paid for. So yeah, it does have a few drawbacks. There's no VR for all you gadget lovers out there. It's made of plastic, not metal. But trust me, this lens will not fail on you. And I highly doubt you'll be able to find a better 50mm lens in this price range. I highly, highly recommend this lens. Well, thanks for watching guys. That's my first video, done and dusted. I hope you enjoyed it and found it useful. Please hit subscribe, wherever it is, they keep moving it, If you've got any questions or suggestions or, anything at all, just hit me a comment or send me a message and so forth. Please feel free to check out my Facebook page, 500px, website, if I get it up and running soon, and put a little annotation here. I'm really hoping I have done this, because I'll just be caressing this annotation. Bit weird. But yeah, it's my first video on this channel, so I don't know how it's going to work out all in all. But as I go on, I'm going to try and improve and do things different and learn from my mistakes. So hopefully, every video will be better. But yeah, until next time guys, see you later.